right, let's set the scene. You've had one of those days, finally home, ready for a hot shower. You turn the tap and bam, ice cold water. It's seriously frustrating, isn't it? Especially when you have a Navien Tankless heater. They're known for being super efficient, durable, that whole endless hot water promise. It's supposed to be rock solid. So what happens when your reliable Navien suddenly goes cold on you? Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission in this deep dive is to really empower you. We'll look at common Navien Tankless water heater problems and, crucially, the solutions.
Exactly. Look, even the best appliances, the most reliable ones, can hit a snag sometimes. What we want to do is give you a kind of shortcut, help you get really well-informed about managing your hot water. We're drawing on a pretty comprehensive guide here. It's not just about what goes wrong, but understanding why it's happening and figuring out how you can approach fixing it or, when it's definitely time to call in a professional.
Okay, great. So let's dive right in. There's a super common issue, no hot water. And sometimes the fix is surprisingly simple, right? Before you panic, there's this quick check. The pressure relief valve, usually near the heater's outlet.
That's the one.
You just open it, then close it again. It sounds almost too simple. What's actually going on there that makes it work sometimes?
Yeah, it's fascinating how often that little action does the trick. See, that valve is there to vent excess pressure. But sometimes maybe a tiny air bubble gets trapped, or the pressure just gets a bit uneven in the system. Opening and closing it quickly helps release that trapped air or just balances out the pressure. That can reset things, essentially telling the heater's sensors, hey, water's flowing. Once the pressure's right, the flow sensor gets a clear signal and boom, hot water again.
Okay, that makes total sense. Balancing the system. And you mentioned flow sensors. I hear they can be a real pain point, especially in older Navien units. What's the deal there?
You're right on the money. The flow sensor is basically the gatekeeper. It tells the heater, okay, water's moving, time to heat up. In older models, corrosion on that sensor is a really common reason for shutdowns. It just stops sending the right signal. Now, for a temporary fix, you can actually try cleaning the clamps holding the sensor. Might buy you some time.
Okay, so a quick clean might work, but temporary, you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's often just a Band-Aid. That corrosion, it usually comes back. So the real long-term solution, if you keep running into this, is replacing the sensor altogether. You'll want to look for one made of stainless steel. It's much more resistant to corrosion, built to last longer.
Gotcha. Replace it with a better part. And for people who want to be really proactive, maybe prevent issues before they start, I've heard about installing a water inlet filter.
Yes, that's a great proactive step. Think of it like a bouncer for your water heater. It catches impurities, sediment, whatever's in your water before it gets to that sensitive flow sensor. Keeps the sensor functioning optimally, helps everything run smoother for longer.
So, okay, we've got the valve check, cleaning or replacing the sensor, adding a filter. But what if you've got an older unit and it's just constantly giving you grief? When do you say enough is enough and think about replacement?
That's a really important question. Look, these fixes can definitely extend the life of your unit, but sometimes with an older Navien, especially one that's becoming a regular headache, the wear and tear adds up. Investing in a new model might actually be, more convenient and even cost-effective in the long run. Newer ones usually have better features, they're often more efficient. Plus, you get that fresh warranty. Peace of mind. It's really about weighing the cost and hassle of ongoing repairs versus the benefits of new tech and reliability.
Right. Knowing when to fix versus when to upgrade. That's key. But often, the heater isn't just being difficult for no reason. It's actually trying to tell you something with those error codes. Navien's system for this is pretty helpful, isn't it?
Oh, incredibly helpful. It's like the heater speaks its own language. And learning that language, understanding those codes, is your shortcut to diagnosis. Saves time, maybe saves a service call fee. We should definitely walk through some of the common ones people see.
Yeah, let's do that. What about, say, E003? That's ignition failure. What's the very first, simplest check for that?
E003 ignition failure. First stop, check your main gas supply valve. Seriously. Make sure it's fully open. It sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how often it gets bumped or wasn't fully reopened after some other work. No gas, no ignition.
Simple enough. Okay,
Yeah.
How about E04, false flame detected? What's usually behind that?
E004. Often this points to the electrical cord, specifically the grounding. You absolutely need to make sure it's correctly grounded. And why is grounding so critical? Well, a solid ground prevents electrical surges, ensures a stable path for the electricity. Without it, the system can get confused, leading to errors like this false flame, or even potentially frying sensitive components.
Wow, okay, so grounding isn't just a minor detail, it's crucial.
Mhm.
What about E012? That one means flame loss. Is there a standard procedure?
E012, flame loss, yeah, there's a routine. First, unplug the unit for safety. Then find the intake filter, remove it, give it a really good clean under running water, get all the dust and gunk out, let it dry completely, that part's important. Then reinstall it, plug the unit back in, and restart. A blocked filter basically suffocates the unit, messes with the flame. Cleaning it often solves E02.
It sounds like some of these codes can circle back to similar root causes, like E515, unusual operation of the PCB, the printed circuit board, the heater's brain. That also involves checking the grounding.
That's right. It really highlights how interconnected everything is. Poor grounding can manifest in multiple ways, including making the main board act up. It underlines just how vital that stable electrical foundation is.
Okay. And one more common one, E760. This one seems pretty direct time to flush the water heater.
Yep, E760 is your heater saying, hey, I need some maintenance. It means mineral buildup might be happening. You should definitely check your manual for the specific flushing procedure for your model. Or, if you're not comfortable doing it yourself, call a plumber. Don't ignore this one. Flushing is really key. Preventative maintenance.
Good advice. And what if someone sees an error code we haven't mentioned?
Great question. For any codes not on this common list, or if the basic fixes don't work, our general advice is always call a qualified service technician. Some codes point to more complex internal issues that really need expert diagnosis to handle safely and correctly. Don't try to guess if you're unsure.
Right, better safe than sorry. So beyond those codes and common fixes, there are a few other problems, maybe less frequent, but potentially more serious, where professional help is usually the way to go.
Definitely. One of the most serious, truly, is a cracked heat exchanger. This is the core component transferring heat. If it cracks, well, that's bad news. It means toxic gases, like carbon monoxide, could potentially leak into your home. That's a major safety hazard. This is absolutely not a DIY repair. If you suspect this or a tech diagnoses it, it really raises that important question again. Check your warranty. Absolutely. But honestly, you should be strongly considering an upgrade to a new unit. Trying to patch this is just not worth the risk.
Yeah, definitely not something to mess around with. What about if the unit just starts cycling on and off for no clear reason? Sounds maddening.
It is maddening, and it's often a big red flag for a failing control board. Sometimes you might even see an error code like E003 for ignition failure pop up, but the real issue could be the motherboard, the main control board, is malfunctioning. It's like the heater's central nervous system is glitching. This needs a professional to evaluate properly and likely replace the board. It's too complex for a homeowner fix.
Okay, another one for the pros. What if your unit starts sounding weird, making noises it didn't used to make?
Unusual sounds, yeah. That could be a few things. Maybe just some loose parts vibrating. Could be a vacuum issue in the water lines, a pressure valve going bad. Even a dirty flow sensor messing with the gas flow can cause weird sounds. Or it might be the recirculating pump if you have one starting to fail. Lots of possibilities.
So quite a range.
Exactly. Which is why it's really important to get a professional to listen and pinpoint the cause. Don't just ignore strange noises. Besides potentially leading to bigger problems, if your unit is under warranty, ignoring a known issue could actually void your coverage. A pro can diagnose it properly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about one of the most frustrating issues for homeowners? The water just isn't staying hot. Or maybe it's lukewarm. What really stands out to you as the main culprits here?
Oh yeah, that lukewarm shower is a classic frustration. A few key things to investigate. First, just sheer demand. Are multiple hot water appliances running at once? Shower, dishwasher, washing machine. Your heater might just be struggling to keep up. The solutions. Try scheduling heavy use, or if it's a constant issue, you might need to upgrade to a larger capacity heater suited for your household's needs.
Okay, so demand is one thing. What else? Gas supply, maybe?
Good call. Low gas supply is another one. If the gas line isn't providing enough volume for the heater's BTU rating, especially if other gas appliances kick on, it won't heat effectively. Fixing that usually means increasing the gas flow, which definitely requires a licensed gas technician. And remember that flow sensor we talked about? A damaged one can restrict the gas flow too, because it's not telling the heater to fire up properly. Again, needs a pro to check it out.
Right, the flow sensor strikes again. And what if the pilot light, assuming it has one, some newer ones keeps going out?
If you have a model with a pilot light and it won't stay lit, yeah, that's fundamental. Causes could be anything from a clogged air vent starving it of oxygen, a damaged gas valve, maybe an interruption in the main gas supply. Could even be dirty burners, or, surprise, surprise, that damaged flow sensor causing issues. You can try cleaning vents and burners carefully, but if it keeps happening, definitely get professional help. Gas isn't something to gamble with.
Absolutely. And speaking of things not to gamble with, a breaker that keeps tripping when the water heater runs, that feels like it needs immediate attention. How do you start diagnosing that puzzle?
Critical issue for sure. A dripping breaker needs investigation right away. It could be a water leak inside the unit causing a short, or maybe internal wiring issues in the heater itself. But honestly, often it's either an issue with your home's electrical circuit or an internal electrical fault within the heater. Here's a basic diagnostic approach. First, turn the breaker OFF, safety first. Then, disconnect the water heater completely from the power source. While it's off, just do a quick visual check for obvious water leaks around or under the unit. Okay, assuming no leaks, leave the heater disconnected and turn the breaker back on. Now, if the breaker stays on, the problem likely is inside the water heater, some internal electrical fault. Time to call a technician for the heater. But if the breaker trips again, even with the heater totally disconnected, then the problem isn't your Navien, it's in your home's wiring or the breaker itself. You need an electrician. That's a really clear diagnostic step, helps narrow it down significantly. So Navien Tankless heaters, they really are known for being reliable, efficient, lasting a long time. And hopefully, by understanding these common issues, from the easy fixes right up to knowing when you absolutely need to call a pro, you feel better equipped. Better equipped to keep that hot water flowing without those nasty cold shocks.
Exactly. And, if we kind of zoom out for a second, connect this to the bigger picture, mastering the art of troubleshooting something like your Navien heater, it isn't just about fixing that one appliance. It really helps cultivate a deeper understanding, a feel for the systems that keep our homes running smoothly. So the provocative thought I'd leave you with is this. What other everyday challenges, maybe around the house, maybe elsewhere, could you approach with the same kind of diagnostic mindset, turning those potential headaches, those frustrations, into moments where you feel empowered, where you understand what's going on and what to do about it? Think about applying that troubleshooting skill